says my health check has passed.
Good.
Yes.
At least we have a healthcare system in our podcasting.
Yeah, that's not what my doctor said, but
works.
your little setup, your Zencaster setup here, good. I'm okay.
It's monitoring your blood pressure, cholesterol, all that, right? You didn't know that you don't read. Nobody reads the terms of agreement when they, they just check the box. Let me podcast.
Yeah, they have the right to clone you now. Just letting you know, giving you a heads up.
It knows your sperm count. It knows everything.
Yo,
which is something I requested.
In like next weekend, it doesn't fucking matter anymore. My wife's like, "You're going to your neutering appointment."
Oh, nice! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, are you gonna have like a divorce cake or whatever, except for just like a vasectomy?
I don't know. I feel like it would be a little bit like too much for me to try to do that for myself. So I'm just gonna like sit here like a damsel in distress and hope one of my friends does it. My rich lawyer friend said that he wants me to come over to his house and like drink a bunch of his wine or something. So I'm like,
yeah, you got to do something for that.
How about the weekend I get neutered? I'm just gonna go hang out at your house.
Don't you have to like ice your balls the whole time?
I was gonna say you might just be laid up chilling, depending on how it goes.
But if I'm laid up chilling at a rich guy's house drinking wine, that's
true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the best kind of way.
But
the nice on the balls.
My wife to drop me off, like. I drive because I'm such a good male feminist. Like,
such a funny like juxtaposition that you would get your vasectomy and then have your wife take you over to a man's house to just lay up for a while.
Just go lay pipe. Yeah.
I don't need, this situation has run its course. I can't, I'm shooting blanks basically. So I'm going to go hang with the homie and drink his wine.
Bust with the homies. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I did some research into vasectomies before. I didn't have to end up getting one because when we had our most recent child, we had to have a C-section. And long story short, you can do things at the same time as a C-section to prevent any more births. So that was the route that we went. But I was planning to get a vasectomy because it just, as a dude, as a penis individual, perhaps maybe that's the right way to put it, it's way less invasive, but better for that person to do it than the other one. And so, I was really curious, like, well, what happens after you get a vasectomy? Like, can you still come? Like, can you still bust ropes, and you can, because semen
just dust comes out.
Is different than sperm, right?
Is it watery though?
Yeah, it's water.
Probably. I don't know. I didn't Google pictures of it, but there's a lot of different stuff in quote unquote semen that your sperm will not be in, but you still have, I don't know, like.
Is it still basically cum, or is it like
semen zero?
It's pee, probably.
Is it like
it's like squirt.
Milk? Yeah. It's just like not really that good anymore.
Yeah. Unsweetened almond milk.
Yeah, it's not that good. It was like it had a richness to it, and now.
Yeah, it's alternative cum. It's a very.
He actually hates this. For those of you who are not watching,
it's very popular these days. Soy milk, almond milk, alternative cum.
I prefer rich, thick cum.
Yeah,
don't we all?
With
whole milk cum.
Yeah,
like coconut cream. No, that's the good shit.
Heavy cream cum.
Wow. Well, let's welcome our guest of the show, Blake Wernick. Did I say that right? Or
it's Warnick. The opposite of Peacenik is the easiest way.
Is there an E in there, or is this a typo?
That's Varenik, but like it's not.
It's silent though.
It just
that's why
the little Ukrainian like cheese and cherry like Jaudza that they have. You ever heard of that shit?
No,
I don't think I have.
Pierogi, like about pierogies, right?
Yeah, of course I know pierogies.
Vareniki are just little tiny pierogies.
I see.
A tortellini of pierogies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tortellini, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me. That is why I like to ask, because I'm one of those people that just reads words and never says them out loud, as most of us terminally online people are. So I wanted to check. make sure.
Yeah.
But,
Warnick, it's fine. Oh,
there we go.
Polish boy.
Well, welcome, listeners. Blake Warnick is here with us for episode 62 of the Succ. It's going to be a wild time. We got a lot of stuff on the show notes, but honestly, I wanted to open this right away because I think one of the main, maybe not the main reason, but one of the reasons we want to have Blake on the show is because Knives McGee, Ashley, posted about favorite chicken soup for the soul horror movie genres are as follows: isolated sexy lady overcomes unfortunate predicament, rich people having a really bad time, and attractive woman surprise murderers back. I also call this the oops genre. And it seemed like y'all had a connection over this. I would love to get into it.
Right. So like a good, so I think that there's like some confusion when it comes to the sexy lady isolation thing. Isolated meaning like there's just no interaction. She's not like fighting anybody else. Sometimes she has like a friend with her who dies fairly soon after they're isolated. So like Fall is a really good example of this, where one of the girls is an influencer and her tits are out the entire time. Nice. And she's just like stuck at the top of like a
horror. Like what platform is that on?
Huh? It's Amazon Prime. Anybody who's interested in a blonde girl's titties being out while she's stuck and screaming.
Jesus has not that great of taste, so
yeah. So like that's an example. 47 Meters Down, I think, counts. Those types of movies. You had suggested a movie called Dark Song where a woman's in a cabin, right?
Yeah, so this was a joint British-Irish film production. It was set, I believe, in the English Midlands. And honestly, it's one of the few horror movies that like I would go back and watch. Okay. A Dark Song is, there's this woman at the beginning and she goes to this landlord to rent a country estate, basically just a house with some small grounds around it, a very nice house, but in a part of England where it's not very expensive. She pays him like £12,000 cash in an envelope and says, "This is my rent for the year. You are not to come on the property for any reason." And then all of a sudden she starts pouring like a line of salt around the building, and then this weird ginger guy shows up. And
the danger.
It's your problem right there.
Danger. And apparently this guy is very off-putting. He's kind of, built like me, a little dumpy, but he's got that like classic British sex pest.
He's also got red hair.
And but he seems like horny, but like ultimately benign, which does end up being the case. I will say that. I don't know if that's not too much of a spoiler.
I like this guy.
But essentially something really bad has happened in this woman's life, and she has hired him because he thinks that he has unlocked enough ancient magic from various cultures that and he's very honest about this. 2/3 of the time I can summon a guardian angel to do your bidding. 1/3 of the time it doesn't work, but it's going to be real fucking miserable. For the next several months, we're not going to leave this house. You're going to do everything I say. We're going to do incantations. We're going to do, the blood in the cup, and we're going to do all this kind of shit. And then, there's a moment where he gets his sex pest on where he says, "No, we have to have ritual sex." And she's like,
"I don't believe you."
I don't believe, no.
Yeah, that sounds like bullshit. Did she buy it?
She does briefly, and basically he's just like, "All right, show me your pussy." And then he just starts jacking off, and he's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, that actually wasn't."
I can't wait to watch this after the podcast. This is
a horny guy. I'm sorry.
Angel wants to see your pussy. He's telling me your pussy needs to come out, and I need to jerk off. Also, he's saying I need to jerk off now. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're stuck in the cabin together, right? With no outside. Okay, I guess that does count.
Nothing except whatever's out there, man.
Is she hot?
I mean, it's. Yeah,
for an Irish
woman? You know what? I'd fuck her. Yeah, let's just go and say
that.
Yeah,
all right, cool. Then it counts. It counts.
I mean, it's a little weird, like in the setting. I'm like, she seems a little damaged. I don't know, it'd be kind of wrong.
Yeah.
Power dynamic.
But if the angel says it, it's pretty much fine. I mean,
cute. As far as English women go, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, good to know. Rich people having a bad time. Parasite, Cadaver, a Norwegian film. Was it Fatal Attraction? Is one.
Okay. I mean, honestly.
This goes along with Oops, the other one that I was talking about. So Hush is a good example of the Oops category, which we talked about, Blake.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they overlap. So rich people having a bad time with the oops category would be like the menu, which is like the new one that everybody's talking about now.
I was about to ask. I need more examples. Does White Lotus fall into that category? I know that's not really.
It's not a horror movie, but I think it's
it is. Yeah, I mean that is rich people having a bad time, which I enjoy.
Yeah, and
Succession is horror if you really think about it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then You're Next. I think I already mentioned that. The Hunt. So those are good examples of both of them kind of overlapping, which are really great movies to watch if you're having a bad day.
Now, is Ice-T a hot girl?
Who?
Ice-T.
Ice-T?
Like the
Remember
rapper?
when he killed all those people and surviving the game? That was a fucking dope movie. That was rich people having a bad time. And that was definitely chicken soup for the soul.
See, that's an overlap, right? Yeah. I can, if I squint.
He's not a hot girl, but he did fuck up some rich people's afternoons.
Yeah. And
I'm just imagining him on Law and Order being like, all right, so the kids are calling this favorite chicken soup for the soul horror movie genre.
Yes.
This first one is isolated sexy lady overcomes unfortunate predicament. Like, that's as close as I can get to Ice-T.
I gotta think that like he's just like hanging out with Charles Barkley and they're just having like the greatest time, just being idiots.
Did they really hang out?
I don't know. That's my fantasy. I mean, like I hope so. I just want
to do impressions of both of them now.
Now they're both just doing whatever they want. They get paid for it. It's great.
Careful with that black scent.
Terrible. This is terrible. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
Avoid that one, huh? I don't think, I don't know. I didn't say main or you know what I'm saying.
I know, I'm teasing you.
Hold on. So I got a short story about Ice-T. Did I tell you this? My brother's, one of my brother's best friends cleans pools.
We've never had an Ice-T story on the show.
Oh, okay. So he lives... His primary residence is like, he has a couple houses, but his primary residence is in like, I forget it. It's like Englewood or something. It's like adjacent to New York City, but in Jersey. It's like a rich person town. And Englewood Cliffs, that's what it is. And and they have a big ass house with like a pool and stuff. And he comes, my brother's friend goes to clean the pool. And he came there one time. He said, they're the coolest people. Him and his wife are like awesome. They way over tip, like just let them hang out, like really, really cool. What you'd expect, you know? And so they get there one time and there is an absolutely destroyed drone just in the pool, just floating in the pool. And they're like, do you want us to like get it out? And his wife comes out, it's like, yeah, get that out. I see like paparazzi were trying to get pictures of us with the drone, and he started shooting at it, and then he hit it with a fucking, and then he tried to hit it with a fucking bat. He eventually got it because it was in the pool and destroyed in the pool, and he broke it up into a bunch of pieces. And he just flipped out on it. Yeah.
I love him. That's great.
So
I love an opportunity to destroy a drone, and I just find it so relatable. Like, there's that like ape quality in all humans where we're like, fuck this guy's like apparatus that he's using to bother me.
I want to destroy this motherfucker. I
love that. Man.
Anyway, I always love that because I don't have any, like I don't know him personally, but my brother's friend was shook when he told us. He had like just happened. He's like, I couldn't believe it.
Well, speaking of various horror movie genres, I think this is brought to us from the Discord, the Succ Discord by Panch Mason. Sorry, you've suggested a lot of topics for the show. I don't know how to say that out loud. Panch Mason, thank you again. A24 is going to make a movie based on the Backrooms. This 17-year-old kid apparently became quite big on YouTube by making Backrooms content, which I feel like Backrooms has been a thing for a while, like many years. Yeah. Like I was in Facebook groups. Shout out to Poetic Boredom. I just learned that's another Discord user on our server that is an admin for the Backrooms Facebook group. And I don't know. Like it's amazing to me that like, it's just lore to me almost. There's not even like a plot to the Backrooms, right? It's just kind of
It's the isolation kind of.
I find
what would you call a plot other than just like it's a creepy space, right? Like you see a picture and you're like, oh, this space is so creepy. If I was
there is some lore to it, like that has been like built up on kind of like Slender Man style, where it's like built up on by people that like whoever writes something that people like. It's like attached to the lore, but there is like broader lore about it where it's like part of the, I forget the name of it. It's like RC something where it's like I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Are you talking about the secure, contain, protect?
Yes, that part of it. Yeah.
I didn't know what this backrooms thing was when I saw it in the show notes. But
I don't. The thing is, I don't know if it
looks like the SCP stories, which are
yes,
awesome.
SCP. That's what it's called. Yeah.
It's
Yes.
like these little short, like sort of community generated horror stories about sort of like it's from the perspective of, for those of you who have not encountered SCP, go out and find it immediately. It's awesome, but like they're just little short horror stories from the perspective of this foundation that's like tasked with like sort of paranormal maintenance and control, that there are entities that are, you know, kind of categorized as being like somewhat dangerous if you fuck with them, dangerous whether you fuck with them or not, or like could end the world. And it's their job to make sure that these things are contained, that ordinary, you know, sheeple like us don't know about them, and that it doesn't affect anyone. It's like, and they're all just user generated, like sort of little you know, card files of horrific things that people thought of, and some of them are just awesome.
Some of them are really good. I'm not. The thing is, I'm not sure if Backrooms was like a separate thing, but I've read several short stories or whatever parts of this universe that involve the Backrooms. So I don't know if it was like an incorporated thing or whatever. But yeah, I think that I always find like I find Backrooms like specifically very interesting and cool because it kind of like piggybacks a little bit off of like there's some parallels with like vaporwave and like liminal. Well, it is a liminal space. That's kind of like the thing. It's a space in between where it's like it is a space where you're not supposed to be. It's a transient space that you're not supposed to be in long, and it's creepy because you're not supposed to be there. So if you're stuck there, it gives you this weird feeling of like, I don't know. It's like and especially when they mix it with like nostalgia, which is like the same thing kind of like with vaporwave and that kind of thing, where it's like, so I've seen many of the best ones like harken back to weird recessive memories. If you were like a kid in like the late 80s up until like the early 2000s, just weird liminal spots in like, you know, a corner of a Chuck E. Cheese or like, and just various things, you know? And I love it. I'm a big fan. So I'm very curious to see how the A24 Backrooms movie comes out. I do worry that it's going to suck and that they're just doing it because it's like a popular thing and A24 is going to like come. I'm an A24 fan, as everyone knows. Mm-hmm. So I hope
they
that
only
they don't
make
fuck
good
it up.
Movies. All A24 movies are by definition good.
Yeah.
Well, I have to make a quick confession. I'm sure the viewers, maybe the listeners, haven't gotten there yet, but the viewers of this episode certainly are wondering why the fuck I'm in this shitty.
Oh, right,
bathroom. Yeah. It's a Backrooms thing. I actually went to the bathroom at the bar before the show. I thought I would just, you know, get a beer, go to the bathroom, head out. Well, strangely enough, I went in the stall, I came back out, and somehow I can't find the way out. I keep going around the corner. To go by the sinks and I just can't get out. So I got my laptop out and I just figured I'll do the show and I'll get out of here soon enough. But
so it must be like a shoegaze show or something because it seems very quiet where you are.
It's every worst venue you've ever been to. Bathroom just stacked on top of each other.
It's slam poetry, I think.
I never really had exposure to any of the backroom stuff until I don't know, probably sometime around when the pandemic started. I feel like that group got to me, but it always reminded me of House of Leaves by
I loved House of Leaves.
Daniel Lewski. I can't. That's
I
my
love girls who loved House of Leaves. Like they're whole new pages, but like
my first girlfriend was obsessed with House of Leaves. Like she had like Post-its in it, and she wrote all over trying to like make connections in the book and stuff like that. But yeah, I read it a few times. That's it's book.
Definitely meant. I mean, the way that it's constructed is meant to make you jump around and read all this like it's a weird conspiracy. You know,
right?
It was girl Donnie Darko for sure in that time.
Absolutely, you're right.
But I just always remember there being like, you know, a point in the book where the character goes into the space of this house and it just keeps going and going and going, right? Mm-hmm. It's just that was my first exposure to anything like that. This book was also my first exposure to a prostate orgasm. Didn't know about those until I read this book. But there's a whole like side chapter about the guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you learn? Okay.
But they describe it in pretty deep detail, like that this guy just
deep detail.
You're like, fuck, I gotta give that a shot.
Yeah. How deep is the detail?
How deep?
If you had
deep enough to hit your prostate, Matt, make you come really hard. Like,
what are you listening to it, Matt? Come on.
Okay, I'm just ordering on Amazon right now on my Kindle.
There's like all these random like little, short stories mixed into the main story. And one of them is about a guy and the girl comes over and smashes his prostate real good. And he comes super hard. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know that was a thing. Okay. Good art. Great book. 5 stars on Goodreads for that right there.
Like my wife learned about blowjobs from Clan of the Cave Bear, which was like a YA novel about like cavemen.
Oh, I remember this.
Popular like when we were kids, and there was like they kind of described a blowjob, like kind of how do cavemen do family planning, really
impressive.
Parents were really mad.
I wish I had learned about blowjobs that way. I of course learned about them at a much too young age because my cousin was like, hey, look at this porn, and I'm like, oh god, I'm like not old enough to understand what's happening right now. But it did this
people up.
Yeah. Especially if you're not like, you're like 12 and you have a 16-year-old cousin that's just like, this shit's cool. And you're like, bro, maybe it's cool. I don't know yet. I don't know what's happening right now. There's a lot of throbbing and,
there's a lot of throbbing and veins and flesh.
Yeah.
I do remember to see the linkage itself like that. I want to see some boobies at this point.
Yeah.
I think one thing the worst thing that porn did to me from seeing it at a young age is for many years I thought certain sex acts were like extremely rare. Like a blowjob was like this crazy rare thing that you would get a blowjob, and then you get to like young adulthood and stuff and you're like, oh yeah, everybody does everything. Like
it's like a pack of hero clicks, man. Did I get a rare? Like,
holy fucking shit! It's a shiny blowjob, you guys. This is fucking...
It's a holographic blowjob.
Well, I'm curious. I'll try to check out this movie, I guess, but I haven't even checked out any of the YouTube content that this is coming from. Has anybody seen this kid's?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're fun little found footage. They're low budget, but they're pretty well done. Like I was impressed.
Is this kind of like, I haven't seen it, but Skinamarink or whatever that's just made a big splash?
I'm planning to watch it with Matt probably this weekend.
Okay.
So
I haven't
that's
seen
the goal.
it.
I've heard too many good things.
Yeah.
I've heard some good things and some bad. Some people thought it was boring and it should have been a video game instead. And then some people said that it was like awesome and a super.
Well, that's so funny to think. Like making a video game would be so much harder than making a found footage, movie. To me,
there is a video game, and it reminded me of it. I forgot what. Hold on, I'm going to look up what it was called. But it's about you wake up as a baby and you can't find your mom, and it's dark, and you have to crawl around as a baby and like interact, and like you're trying to find your mother, and then like.
That sounds like. Did you ever play that like indie game Limbo or any of the other ones that were like?
I loved Limbo.
It's like a
yeah.
It reminds me of that. I love.
So that's more of a scroller.
The other one that was like in some kind of weird government facility in Indiana or whatever. Like, and you have to like tunnel through that. Both of those are awesome.
The one where you turn into the flesh ball at the end, or am I talking about it?
I don't think I beat it. I don't know.
What?
No, it's Among the Sleep is the game that I'm talking about, and it was kind of a big deal when it came out. But you're like a baby, and like your teddy bear talks to you, and it's dark, and you're hiding from something the entire time, and it just kind of like, and that's kind of
traumatizing.
Yeah, it was pretty good when it came out. I played a little bit of it recently, but it doesn't really hold up.
The closest I've played to any game like that, I can't remember what it's called now, but it has like a loop, and you. God damn it! It's like you're in an office space. They describe you as this guy who's like on a computer, and somebody speaks to you on a speaker. And
is that the one where you destroy everything around you?
Those are Lego. Lego. That's what those are. Yeah.
There was a similar. There's a similar game that where like you play like a guy that's just like in a cubicle office, like really liminal.
Yeah.
And then
Luckily,
but then you like find an axe.
In the bathroom, so
there you go.
Oh, that
maybe
sounds
I can
fun.
find it.
Yeah, but you like you find an axe and then you just start destroying things around you because the office just seems off and like random things will just be like made of meat.
Oh,
I need to find it. Yeah, it was a cool game. It was like very very like maybe a step up from like Doom graphics.
The Stanley Parable.
Stanley Parable. Yeah, I've heard
By
of
the
it.
way, just happy Meat Day to all who celebrate.
Is it Meat
Is
Day?
it Meat Day?
Meat Day.
Happy
It's
Meat
a
Day, you
really nice
guys.
Meat Day.
What
That's
is
all.
what is
I
this?
don't know. It's some anime shit. I don't know. It's
Okay.
just, like people have been sharing like this picture of like this jack dude with no shirt that looks like Mr. Clean and this other dude, and it's like Happy Meat Day. And I'm like, honestly, I have no idea what anime that's from, but I support it. I enjoy meat. Happy Meat Day.
Yeah, if we're gonna get to eat meat, I mean, I'm here for that.
Love it.
Well, speaking of weird games, I guess let's just talk about this. We'll revisit something that we talked about a couple episodes ago. Justin Roiland has been, disowned by everyone because he's a piece of shit. And I guess there's this whole expose that came out from, I don't know, Hollywood Reporter or somebody that basically is just revealing that like Justin hasn't been involved with Rick and Morty for a long time, which I mean makes sense to me. I get it.
Yeah, well, he has been like involved, but he's been less and less involved.
Well,
And
right.
what's his name? Dan Harmon. They haven't really spoken for like the past, I don't know, for multiple seasons, as it says.
Yeah, he's very estranged. Like he does the voices
Yeah.
still, but he does them
Yeah,
from home, and he does them without any direction from anybody else.
They also they had to bring in a third party mediator, like a therapist, to repair their relationship, and it didn't work.
Yeah,
Wait, they got a couples therapist?
They got a couples therapist for Rick and Morty. Both Rick and Morty got a.
So now, is Dan Harmon the guy who liked to ask little girls to post their feet on Twitter?
No. Wait, is that him? Is that the guy? Are you talking about the guy that like? Wasn't there another guy that was like on Nickelodeon?
Yeah, the TV guy who was like,
no,
It's a different guy.
Write this hashtag on your feed and post.
How did no one catch on to
No,
that?
that's Dan Schneider.
That's different.
That guy's
It's Dan Schneider, that's right.
Super
Yeah.
creep. Dan Harmon has done like Community. I think is a big one of his credits. And I think he's had some bad stuff, but like he survived it. Like, I think he's more of like a James Gunn level canceled. Like it was like, oh yeah, you did some weird shit, but like everybody kind of knew that, and like I think it was worse with Justin.
He's a gamer.
He is, yeah. It's weird. But I did find this story super fascinating because I think so many people are like, well, how are they going to make the show? Like, I don't know anybody personally that's saying that, but like, I guess that's the internet reaction is because this major voice actor, co-creator of the show is out and people just can't imagine how it will go on without him. How, Lord, how? But I did see a funny story side note that I guess like Mindy Kaling was somehow in negotiations to take over the show. Right, which I mean, with all this Velma shit, like we covered it. We don't like Mindy Kaling, but that show seems so bad that I don't know why they would ever consider that. Like, what is the draw to bring
if
her?
they
in?
really want to nuke it,
I got to try to confirm this. But no, I'm confirming right now. I'm looking up. I'm take confirming with a grain of salt. But comicbook.com is saying that I guess that Mindy Kaling was in negotiations to join on Rick and Morty.
Oh, God.
I don't really think they need to do anything if this is true. Like if you read the expose, it's pretty interesting that like the group of the crew has been working on this show diligently. Like I guess after the first or second season or so, Dan Harmon brought in a lot of more of his people to the writers' room from like Community and stuff, and there's been 6 seasons or something now, so it's something is working. I haven't watched the show since season 2, so it's weird for me to like hear all this. But I do think it's interesting to hear how quickly they moved to distance themselves from him when all this came out, and that their company, the big top dogs, Warner Brothers or whatever, were like, yeah, we're gonna do this. Like, it seems rare, Seems like a lot of companies will just like try to ride out the storm or something, like, oh, the show is so important, we can't.
It definitely makes me feel like a lot of people, and it seems like it's coming out that Justin Roiland ruffled the feathers of a lot of people and rubbed them the wrong way, and that people were just kind of like, "Yep, I'm good on that." Like if this is actually good, possibly.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, you were talking about Everett before we started recording, and it's like I've had my own history with him. And not that I would wish ill on anyone, but I think when somebody's getting well-deserved, like,
I'll wish ill on people for you, Phil.
yeah, sure. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say, though. Like, right? Like, I'm not like trying to act like I don't hate people or something. I do, but like at the same time, it's like when it's like I'm not going to actively try to create your downfall, but when you see somebody that's done these things and it's happening to them, you're like, okay, all right.
It's like they kind of hung hung themselves.
Who doesn't enjoy the watching karma happen real time? You know?
Yeah.
Because too often it doesn't happen. So,
like in some situations, it's just like you're waiting for them to fuck up in a way where you can just be like, okay, great, I'm done. I don't have to deal with this person anymore. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to imagine a lot of people in a lot of these situations felt that they had no recourse, right? Like to go on whatever online or something and try to be like, this person did this. There's this rabid fan base of people that are going to be like, no, you know, defending him, you know, getting their Sichuan sauce from McDonald's and having the same reaction, you know what I'm saying, to somebody trying to cast aspersions on him. So in some ways, I'm relieved for them that they can have such a, you know, rip the Band-Aid off moment. Like, fuck it, it's over. Get him out of here.
It sort of seemed to me like, you know, were these folks really surprised?
Right.
About all of this? Because I guess I wasn't. I mean, and I don't, you know, look, I've been married for almost 10 years, so I'm not allowed to watch Rick and Morty. You know, so that may be part of it. You know, because it's just like that's you know, that's bro shit. You know, that's like incel shit or whatever. I'm kidding. I understand that it really is like I've watched a few episodes of it. It's not my thing, but I have friends who really love the first couple of seasons, and it definitely deals with some really funny metaphysical concepts and all that. But it also is just sort of like when you create a fandom that has these characteristics, it is a little hard to imagine that you might not share some of them yourself.
Right.
And, you know, I guess it's just sort of like this guy, you know, oh, the Rick and Morty fans, you know, the Rick and Morty creator he loves underage girls. It's kind of yeah. That's about right.
Those dots were not hard to connect, is what you're saying.
Were. And I hate to say that, but it's like, you know, I don't know. I guess it's sort of, you know, there's only so far you can get from the media that you like to consume, I guess, in a way. But it is, you know, it is funny to watch, I will admit. I've never heard Adventure Time fans being this obnoxious. You know?
No.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting to harken back to when the Chappelle show fan base was so annoying that they made Dave Chappelle quit the show and purportedly go to Africa. I don't know, but like
they made him a phobe. That sucks. Like,
yeah.
I mean, now to see the fallout that he was able to come back from all that, but like, well, I mean, you make a great point. I guess to me, I was just reflecting on that for a fan base, you know, somebody of that level.
Chappelle even talked about that at the time. I was like, this is making me insane. This makes everyone insane. Do you think people go to Hollywood and they're all just crazy to begin with? No. And I'm like, you are, you know, he still may be a victim of all that, as awful as some of his recent content has been, but weird.
No, he's I mean, we on this show we've talked about him several times and all the fallout that's happening, and it's like he's definitely not okay. Like that doesn't excuse anything, but he's definitely not okay. Like he didn't come out the other side of all that shit. Like he's alive and he's working.
I guess I sort of wish that people who are not okay, because I'm not okay. Nobody should listen to me. I wish more not okay people.
Matt, can you?
I'm perfectly fine. I'm really good. So if you need any kind of advice or to listen to somebody, I'm your man. Okay. I'm normal.
Yeah. Okay.
The most normal one here for sure.
Agreed.
Wow. Okay. Trying to usurp my normalness over here. That's usually my role, but fine. Well, speaking of being extremely normal, I guess there was I can't even finish the transition. There was a post going around this week. I'll try to read it if I can. I guess, okay, here we go. This is from Dandy, which is at Dax Dives, posting about a TikToker. It says, some dude got called out on TikTok for wearing a Third Reich medal, and in response, he made a video coming out as the literal reincarnation of Hitler in front of his squishmallows. You cannot make this shit up. I mean,
absolutely true and hilarious. I watched some of the TikTok content that this person was coming out with. They think that they're reincarnated Hitler. They're like trying to like prove that, but I have a scar on my head from where I killed myself in my past life.
oh my God.
And, like,
do you think? Yeah, are you clocking them as being? Do they really believe this, or is it like for the talks?
Who the fuck knows?
Sometimes you can tell. Like, what's your like inkling on it?
It seems kind of sincere, unfortunately.
Okay.
But this
Okay.
person, yeah, it seems like a very like arrogant, narcissistic kind of like.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They're
Okay, the
eugenicist, you know.
The
All
septum
Yeah, that's
piercing.
Yeah,
The biggest fucking septum piercing that like is exactly the width of a Hitler mustache.
Yes.
yeah.
exactly.
It's really you can't.
they literally
you can't make it up.
made that. They made that by hand to look like that. By the way,
I'm sorry, I support that. Like that if you're going to
Crafty.
be this person, you gotta have that.
Reclaiming the
That's
Hitler's
it's
mustache.
accessory.
good
Yeah.
job, gay Hitler.
Has he
Good
been
job.
rejected from art school yet? That's really the big question.
Oh God, God help us.
They
RISD
don't
better let him
reject
in.
people. They don't reject people from art school anymore, so we're just
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
gonna deal with all of
what
it. Yeah.
culture is going to deprive us of our reincarnation of Hitler when we could?
Unless you're poor, in which case they don't let you into art school, but then nobody cares what you have to say anyway. So.
True.
I don't even know how to interpret this. There's not really much further to go, but there's no way we couldn't talk about this because I think it was in the Suck Shame posting group and the Discord, and it's just like the squishmallows. We got to touch on
Yeah.
the squishmallows. Like, are there certain squishmallows that are, not Nazi squishmallows?
All of them.
All of
All
them.
of
Lucarian.
them.
I'm gonna say
Every single
Lucarian
fucking one of
is
them.
Nazi.
I've got squishmallows. They're not all Hitler Nazi squishmallows.
A little bit sus, but okay, that's fine. Yeah, no,
I have
it's
two
normal.
kids.
You're normal.
I can
It's
have
fine.
squishmallows. okay?
Drawing little Hitler mustaches and swastikas on their squishmallows with like a Sharpie.
It's like an armband on one of them for
Yeah.
some reason that doesn't even.
I'm
have
sorry,
a-
we all for sure know someone who's done like a communist squishmallow.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
So I'm not trying to make a moral equivalence, but I am going to make a mental health equivalence there.
Yeah. Yeah.
feel
In
like-
fact, I want to send a shout out to the listeners. Drop us the communist squishmallows that you
Please,
see.
I need to see them.
We need in the next week. Those need to be in the Discord.
Wait, Who's the most communist Pokemon?
Most communist, Mr. Mime.
Snorlax. No,
Wouldn't it be Diglett? Because it's like, it's one.
it's a collective. Yeah.
Mini-
Oh yeah, or Executor or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
there you go.
true. Yep.
It's another good one. Wow.
Actually,
Communist
What's the most
Pokemon and
communist Pokemon?
Squishmallows. We need more. Send us to them in the group. Okay, Matt, help us out here. I don't know what's going on with this one, but we probably need to talk about it. Trump and DeSantis, we already know they hate each other, but there's a feud. There's something new happening here. What?
Oh yeah, they're really going at it.
Okay. Fill us in.
I'm trying to. Oh yeah, okay. So I wish I put the thing in here, the screenshot. But so Trump is like he's not on Twitter, as you know,
Right.
but he is still going off on. I think he's on Truth Social, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Trump and DeSantis have kind of like they used to be, I guess, on the same team. DeSantis used to dick ride him real hard and try to get that clout, But DeSantis has kind of like since broken from Trump, and he actually badmouths Trump quite a bit. And Trump, he doesn't like that. He's a loyalty guy. That's he likes that kind of thing. Well, for him, he himself is not particularly loyal, but he recently called DeSantis a pedophile, or implied that he was a pedophile, which is just he's back, baby. We got him. He's back. It's back on the menu. We got him. He's still got a little bit of gusto left in him, I think. I was worried because I thought he.
I want to get on Truth Social. At this point, I really I have less use for Twitter than I do for just
Yeah,
seeing what.
Let's all
Daddy
start
Trump.
shit posting on Truth Social. I think
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
a good move.
No,
We won't get banned.
Semi-serious. Yeah.
Can you not
free
get
speech
banned
app.
on Truth?
It's a free speech app, right? So that's so I can go, advocate for
You say
communism or something.
in our wastebasket emoji, like on there, and not get banned. Is that possible?
Or the
Let's
squirt
find
gun
out.
emoji over and over again.
We gotta find out. Somebody, this is an experiment we got to do for the show. Is there any evidence, like, or is this like this pedophile accusation? Like, is there any basis to it? Like, I'm not defending DeSantis. I hate this guy, but I'm just curious because Trump is very good at lying too. Like, he just makes something up and just rolls with it. You know, like.
No, I wish I looked more into it before I put it on here. But
I'm glad you're probably glad that you didn't. So
yeah, I should have looked into it. Apparently I'm looking here. DeSantis giving a statement about grooming and smearing.
What?
Huh?
He's in front of a bunch of diapers, dude.
What? Say that again.
I'm trying to.
I just think
watching this live.
Trump's the guy who notoriously wants to have sex with his daughter, calling DeSantis a pedophile.
Yeah,
the guy who flown on Epstein's plane how many times? I mean, like, it's just two pedophiles calling each other pedophiles.
Yeah.
That's just politics now.
So can I just briefly relate what I've been dealing with at work this week?
Yes. Please. This is a perfect segue.
Okay, I work for a child abuse nonprofit. I'd really rather not get into it. It'd be pretty easy to figure it out if you did a little Googling. Most of the people who listen to this podcast probably are friends with me on Facebook, so they already know what I do for a living. But we announced a partnership with a very edgy fashion brand this week. That was part of their mea culpa for posting some interesting children that included little handbags that were shaped like teddy bears. That and ultimately, I'm going to look at it and say, yeah, they said it was bondage gear. It looked more like Lower East Side punk fashion type stuff to me. I don't know. But then there was another shoot. So this was Balenciaga. If you don't, this was the one time that the QAnon pedo hunters like broke out, and like most of us were kind of like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Okay, I agree. Like that, that's not just. It was hurtful. No children were harmed in the process of it, but I mean, it was pretty fucked up. There was another shoot. The reason that it was sort of like, was 3 weeks later they did another shoot that had some printouts on like an executive's desk. Some of those printouts were of a Supreme Court case about child pornography. And so there was this thought, it was kind of fucked up. And so, I work in communications at a major child abuse nonprofit. I was getting a lot of emails and calls about this stuff. What are you going to do about it? All this. And it's like, well, we support the places that kids can get services at. We're not just going to go out unless there's a direct connection to our work. It's bad. It's bad to put kids in sexualized ads. It's bad to put kids in ads with wine glasses and other adult stuff. It was pretty fucky. But at the same time, it's like, I don't believe that at Balenciaga headquarters in Paris that there's a pizza basement or anything like that. And that's kind of where two paths diverged in a yellow wood, and I took one and the Chuds took the other. This week, we announced that we've actually been talking to those folks and telling them what we thought about those ads. And they said, okay, we would like to give you a lot of money, both to provide mental health services for 55,000 children over the course of 3 years. And we said, bet. And they also said, we would like for you to come in and train us on how to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We also said, bet. We knew that we were going to get some negative attention, though, we were hoping it wasn't anyone within our professional world. Everyone has been pretty supportive of that. But for the last 2 days, me and my guy, Adam, who is a child abuse survivor himself, have been basically every lip sync saleswoman, every MLM babe in the world has been on Instagram telling us that we're pedophiles, that we're helping send children directly to what is his name? Whatever the fuck his name is, Dimna. They were saying, that we're helping him like recruit. That's how they get the children. When they say they're abused and they take them into these centers and they're sending them to Dimna.
What?
It's like, that's definitely like
galaxy brain. That's
quite easier than
brain take right there.
Like, if somebody were a pedophile to just like, I don't know, rape poor children or whatever. Sure. Yeah, definitely that's what we're doing. We're shipping kids to Paris so that this Georgian man who wears a stupid fishing hat can have sex with them. That's absolutely fine. And it's just been very frustrating. The thing that I wanted to bring up about this is I've noticed that, you know how they lost the midterms and all that?
Oh yeah.
Really reeling in the like outward trappings of being freaks. And have been like a lot of the like, you know, MAGA mom kind of people, you can see their posts from like November back were just like draped in a flag and saying, now it's all like Brenda Light Warrior. You know, it's all just like, you know, she weaves healing, you know, weaves healing. Saying the most, we had a guy call us today and leave a voicemail that he said that he had donated to us in the past and would never donate again. He was going to tell his friends that they shouldn't donate to us again. And that sounds like something that a guy who's never given us $1 would
Yeah.
That's absolutely the case. Never heard of this guy. He never donated $1 to us. So it's just been this just long. That's why I'm drinking so heavily. It's been a really long fucking week. But that's what the chuds are up to, pretending to be normal, but they still can't stop talking about, you know, bottom surgery on toddlers. So
Oh my god.
even though they're all just wearing beige and they have a nice composition on their photos now, we know who they really are. So don't stop, folks. Don't stop. That's what's been going on with me this week.
Oh,
Terrible.
Lord, Blake,
Sounds
I'm
fun.
sorry. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's been a trip watching the whole like just like the explosion of conspiratorial thinking. I mean, it's always been like on the internet, obviously, but it just feels so much more mainstream as people just like reckon with the absolute garbage world where
Do you think it
before us.
was it Trump or the pandemic or both? Do you think that kind of just like really set it off?
I think it's both. I mean, I think they're just like it was already happening, and that just
Stoked it.
and
I literally think it was Facebook. I think all this other shit.
social media in general.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
like
think
a perfect
it's
storm kind of
one
thing.
thing to be like an absolute raving loon. It's another to find 7,000 other raving loons who
Yeah.
do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
it's like,
unique.
no, everyone else is fucking wrong. What are you talking about? There definitely are. You know, there definitely is a basement underneath, you know, this really shitty pizza place in Northwest.
It's hard to believe sometimes when you look back at it that was really, really what people believed, to the point that someone went there to find the
Dude,
basement,
I was on Connecticut that day, and there were like 50 cop cars went flying up the road. I was just like, what the hell? Is there like an attack on Walter Reed or something? And it was like, that was the day that the guy from North Carolina, and even he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, like there wasn't a basement. They fucked up. But it sounded
Yeah, no
like
shit,
even
guy.
like he's in federal prison for it, and he was like, yeah, you know, I mean,
You know how it is.
I think it's interesting you bring up that it's Facebook, because I agree, but I've also was just reflecting on that a little bit more. And it's funny how Facebook is supposed to, like, it presents this idea that it's more legitimate, right? Because you're supposed to be on as yourself. You don't have a username. You're supposed to be verified, like, you know, you're supposed to verify your profile to some degree. Obviously, there's so many ways around that, which I guess is my point, is that like all these crazy communities and basically like this industry of trolling and farming people comes out of that. You know, like, I shouldn't say farming people, I say trolling and like,
they're farming motherfuckers for sure.
People getting farmed.
They're farming them. They're out here farming them.
Being farmed on the
But
day.
you know, I hope y'all know what I'm trying to say, which is just like there's this thing now where people can be professionally harassed. Like a group can just be mobilized to say
Mhm.
this person disagrees with this,
Yeah.
and now everyone ruined their life right now. Which is, you know, I'm not trying to talk about cancel culture or anything. I'm trying to talk about the chuds, like as you.
Well,
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
What do you fucking want to happen? That's what I mean. That's my question to these. You know, it's like, did you know what they did? And it's like, yeah, read the fucking press release that like caused all this. We know what was in the ads. We thought it was bad, and this is the way to like. What do you want?
It's very
You want
reactionary.
everyone
They don't
playing
want
with
anything,
Arabic?
right? Yeah, I think they just
It's
want to
violence.
react to a situation
Yeah.
they see as inflammatory, as something they can exploit.
They want the cathartic release of just being fucking angry.
Shithead. Yeah.
And people and like the media circuits are cashing in on this big time. I mean, like, you know, the Fox News type and the right wing media circuit. They've started figuring out how to, like, you know, stoke the flames. I mean, they know how to do that in general, but like actually mobilizing people online to like really fuck people's shit up.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
think
like
this is like auxiliarily related, or laterally related. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of related in that. So we talked about this before, the Seinfeld AI generated Twitch channel.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all checked that out, but it got
No.
taken down. For the listeners that hadn't heard about
Copyright or
this,
something?
it was a Twitch channel called Nothing Forever. It was machine learning trained on Seinfeld stuff. It had this very low poly models, and everything was procedurally generated, which was the technology. It didn't result in anything good. It was not worth watching, but it was impressive that somebody could make this, and it just ran for like over a month, doing weird fake Seinfeld sketches. At some point, it made like transphobic.
I didn't know about that.
It's worth it's worth checking out for at least like 10 or maybe 5
some people loved it. I have a couple friends that absolutely they watched it and legitimately liked it, and they were watching it for
I
like
definitely
hours.
watched it for like an hour straight.
Yeah. What?
I want their names.
I didn't find it that good, but I didn't really like Seinfeld too much. So
I want to open up the conversation.
You have a baby?
I have 2 children, and one of them is screaming at me. So I'll be
in the liminal space. There are babies. I don't know. I watched it for like 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, I get it. And then I went and did something else. But
I mean, most of it didn't make sense, really.
Right.
Like, it was just kind of like, you could tell it was like AI. Well, it was weird because it did make sense. Like, they were having conversations that they were replying to each other and responding as if they were interacting. But like, there was no, it just was like, so there was no like overarching storyline or anything, or like a lot of connection. It felt like very isolated clips of them just interacting. But I did love that they microwaved things over and over again. I was gonna
say they definitely nailed the aura of Seinfeld.
They did, yes,
in a computer mind kind of way. It was like, we're going to the open mic and like that kind of thing. But I guess essentially what happened was, I think Phil might have the actual quote of what Seinfeld said at the open mic that apparently was like super offensive.
Oh yeah, it was like
Phil has disappeared for the moment.
Yes. Oh shit. It was something to the effect of like, oh, there's tons of people here, but none of them are laughing. I was thinking about doing a joke about how
trans people are mentally ill.
Trans people are mentally ill, yeah, and but nobody finds it funny.
Right.
So I don't know. When I read that, I was kind of like, I don't know. That, I mean, it seems like the joke is that it's not funny to do that.
Right.
But I guess you could interpret it. I mean, it's an AI generated thing. It's hard to tell like what the intent behind that was, if there even was any.
Yeah, so, I don't know if there even was in it. I mean, it's computer generated, it's AI. But like, what I got from it is that it's just like, if no one's laughing, I'm gonna fall back on these like punching down jokes, and no one likes those anyway, and no one's gonna laugh. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's kind of been doing that for like a while. It's he's never been that funny as a stand-up. I mean, that's the thing. This show was a phenomenon in that it was sort of like this way for, I guess, Gen X to navel gaze at itself, and sort of like, well, we don't have to do anything, so what's life even about? It actually seems pretty easy if you're people like us. So let's create some conflict. I mean, that's kind of the basis of it. He was never funny as a stand-up.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I grew up in the 80s, I would find the statement making observations about airline food funny. Like, I don't know, because like comedy has
comedy moves quick. I mean, for sure,
right?
Absolutely,
yeah.
But
So
there's old comedy that's funny, and it's like, so I don't totally buy that argument.
Right? Yeah, I suppose so.
It's harder to do timeless comedy, though, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, Shakespeare's funny. I mean, there's Greek.
There are moments.
Lysistrata is funny. Like, it's it's not impossible for things to be. Farts are always funny. I mean,
they're always been funny. They'll never stop being funny.
Farts are the diamonds of comedy. They don't age, and they're just.
They always smell great.
My pets like them. I mean, it's fun. Like, we're all farting.
Pets do them. Yeah. They like them. Now, I always thought, after watching, like, I remember not liking Seinfeld very much, and then trying to watch it when I was like a little bit older, as like a teenager, and still not liking it. And then and my parents weren't big on it, but I do remember watching Curb Your Enthusiasm and being like, oh, this is funny.
Right.
And then I realized that the stuff that I didn't like about Seinfeld was like the other stuff, and that I thought it was actually pretty funny to watch Larry David specifically ruin his own life.
Mm-hmm. Right. All the unfunny stuff was.
It felt different. Yeah, Seinfeld sucks. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's what
I think part of it is like what was like conventional or they were allowed to get away with, and the other part of it was also just this. This is what these swine want. At the time, like this is what is going to work on television for, the hooting audience or whatever. And I mean, now it's, I think you look at some of the other stuff, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's like, if it were on today, it might be a little better. I mean, it's certainly, I will put Seinfeld, for example, way above Frasier, although I do have a fondness for Frasier, but
yeah, I
don't know that I would. I mean, it's not like good. It's just like not as bad as some of the media.
Right.
My parents watched Wings, which I also liked as a child. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually good. I just remember liking it, or certainly liked it better than other sitcoms of the era.
Lowell, Thomas Hayden Church. He was a G.
Yes. Yeah.
We love that guy. He was in. What is that Paul Giamatti wine movie he was in? That was great.
Oh, Sideways.
The one. Yeah. Where I was like in college, going in my my wool overcoat to the Harris Teeter and being like, I don't drink Merlot. I'll have a cab, thank you.
I did want to bring up this thing. I don't know who put it in here, but this is fucking hilarious. Have you guys heard of Snape wives?
Oh my God. I'm so excited to learn about this.
Oh, that sounds awful.
I don't know how real it is, but like it feels like it's real.
No, that's real. No, that's 100%
okay,
real.
so I'm gonna read it to you, and you guys, and just it's real. We all agree it's real before I even read it here. Okay. Yep. A group of middle-aged women on the internet who believe they are all married to Severus Snape from the Harry Potter books on the astral plane. They have real-life meetings where they take turns channeling the spirit of Snape so that they can have wedding ceremonies with him.
No.
There's even infighting over whom Snape loves the most and whether Snape is an emotional wooby, which I've never heard before. I don't know what that means.
Emotional what?
Wooby. Wooby. Who just needs to be loved, or a domineering master who lives to be dominant. This is so horny, dude. This is too horny.
Wooby is a security. A wooby is a security blanket, teddy bear, or any physical item.
Oh, like a wooby.
Yeah,
like a
fuzzy worm.
You need your wooby,
I guess so. Yeah, I'd never heard that term before, but that makes sense.
I've never heard it.
I've never heard it uttered like about a person, or like online, or like outside of someone's home when they're speaking to like
a child
or a dog.
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck. That was painful.
Yeah. That's dark, man. But
I just think I think it would be cool to be like a lesbian in those types of situations where it's just like I'm Severus Snape right now and you're so sexy. I'm gonna play with your tits, or whatever it is that they do together.
I'm goth butch daddy with like lank hair. Yeah. I'm just
the archangel is telling me. Snape is telling me to.
Right.
I need to see your pussy.
I need to see your pussy.
Yep. just like the ginger. Yeah. I mean, it was actually Ron Weasley that was in the house in the dark.
Ron Weasley always had sex.
Hard times after the divorce from Hermione. You need to look at pussies and do sorcery. Welsh castle. No, it's
you were saying like that. Mentally ill people can meet online now, and this seems like a prime example. I actually meant to mention that, like, you're talking.
We met online. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. We're mentally ill, and we met online.
No,
but the
wrong people, not mentally ill people, wrong people.
Well, yeah, wrong people, but there's wrong, but like, I mean, not mental illness is the right term, but just like people that are like, I don't know, like they get a particular mind virus like broadly, and that just disseminates super quickly. But the same goes.
Be dissuaded. I got it.
Yeah. And but this kind of the same goes for like people that have like this very specific like hole in their brain, you know, where like, or hole in themselves where it's like, I need to fill this with Severus Snape. And, you know, and then they just meet and then now there's a community of them reinforcing their insanity with each other.
You know what? They're not hurting anybody.
They're not. That's what I'm saying. Like C.S. Lewis talked about this, that like the sin is, the impact is like different depending on who you are. Like you might just be a raving lunatic saying how you want Severus Snape to like drill your back walls. And then you might be online like trying to make a charity worker kill himself because,
which is much worse.
Yeah, that's a lot worse. If you want to look, if you want to get plowed by that
Severus Snape
from
the astral realm, and if you want to scissor a woman
wizard
who is embodying Severus Snape, I am totally cool with it. That's fine.
Here's my thing. I never saw Severus Snape as being a particularly sexual guy.
I was into it, but
Me
no
neither.
I liked Scar. I was into Snape, where it's just like, you know,
I'm not saying attraction wise. I'm saying like how many times do you think he could go in one night?
Oh,
you think
like
he could
once?
Satisfy all these women?
Oh,
it's not about that.
No.
Not
That's why he's got to. That's why they fight over who's a favorite.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, because he fucks like one of this. How many women are in this group? Like, you know,
we can't. There's dozens at least, and I'm basing that on nothing. But there has to be dozens.
78 members, let's say. I feel like it's not fair game to pick on a group unless it has at least 1,000 members. It's like if you're niche, like just go with God, sir. I don't really care what you're doing. But once you reach 1,000 people, it's like, all right, what are you fuckers up to in here? I don't know about this. Let's see what's going on. Make an assessment.
I love this. All right. Well, we are at an hour now. We lost Phil. Unfortunately, his poor baby is sick, and he's gone now. Blake, thank you so much for coming on. Oh, definitely would love to have you on again.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out, dude.
Yeah, I would love to do it again too. And yeah, I just love talking to you guys, and I love the shit that y'all post about. And I love
the dicks and the farts and the
yeah. No, it's important. We all need dicks, farts, and cum, as we've established.
You do.
It's timeless comedy.
Those are yeah, exactly, like you say.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting before we wrap up that I had a lot of people reach out to me during the pandemic because I was just like posting the pain away. You know, they're like, man, thanks for posting these cum jokes because they're just getting me through the day. And I was like, damn, okay, I'm doing God's work here.
I'm a Matt fan. You know, I think I talked about this when you interviewed, you know, a personal hero, Matt Christmas, last week, that it was like my best parasocial podcast relationship and my best parasocial Facebook relationship. We're in love and we're like chatting it out and hanging out and stuff. And like,
it's two guys, two bros.
You kept me. Yeah, you definitely, you're bullshit. And Knives McGee, as you're known online, I really have enjoyed your brand of bullshit.
Thank you.
Especially as Justine has stepped back, yours has been like even meaner, and
that's good. I appreciate that. I take that as a compliment.
Myself, and I like it.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. I'll be
a pain pig.
Anytime you want.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Check out our Facebook group, the Succ Shame posting, and subscribe to our Patreon if you like what you hear. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.